morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am your host, Jennifer Sonko. It's been a while. You know, feels good being here. I'm so excited. It's been a week plus, right?
Well, I mean, it's to me, it's more than a week plus. I mean, it's
God.
It's like a month.
A month already.
Yes.
Isn't that sweet, Mr. Ade? Good morning.
Good morning.
Isn't that sweet?
It's very sweet. In fact, I'd forgotten what you look like. It's been so long.
Yeah, but, it's been so long, right?
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's always good to be back here. But anyway, for me, I still felt my presence, considering that I've been filing stories and appeared once on This Morning as well. So it's really good to be back home. Wherever you go, you have to be back home to do what you have to do.
So can you take us through what's up in Bali?
Yo, Bali is like, you know, paradise on earth.
For real.
I love, you know, clean beaches. People there are so hardworking. Nothing is too little for them. Even if you go to the beach,
they're hardworking, just like the Gambia.
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Bali can be used as a case study for like young people in Gambia to try to explain to them that you have to start somewhere. Okay. That's the definition of what Bali is. Because even if you go to the beach, there's somebody waiting for you to massage your feet.
What?
To that extent.
Like massage?
Like massage your feet, look after you, give you coconut water and all of that. So for them, really, nothing is too small. It's about, you know, starting somewhere and putting it together. And the people are so nice. I don't know if Rika is watching. You know, he was my tour guide, taking me all over the place, you know. And to be honest, I didn't even have to pay a lot of money. Okay. So if I tell you the amount I had to pay him, just to show you that it's, you know, such a friendly tourism destination where the money, the value of the money is not that good, but at least it's, you know, something that you can budget. Right. But because it's far as well, I do not see a lot of Africans going to Bali, you know, because the ticket is quite expensive. It is far.
It's a long
journey.
You have to change planes.
Mr. Ade, if I tell you I had to go through like 3 different transits from Casablanca, from Casablanca to Dubai, from Dubai to Jakarta, from Jakarta to Bali, you know, that was just too much to deal with. It's exhausting just hearing all the things.
That
was like exhausting. And 8 hours, and then another one for 4 hours, and another one for 2 hours. Right. But at the end of the day, I felt it was worth it because, you know, disaster risk reduction at this point in time is really a part of me, because even my BA thesis was on disaster risk reduction, the understanding of journalists. So for me, having opportunities as such to go and tell these stories, it's something big. So a special thank you to UNDRR for giving me this opportunity to do this.
I received a very funny message.
Oh, you did?
Said, Black has always been victims of pain and atrocities.
As in black people.
Yes, you know, I posted
something
on WhatsApp, and the guy just sent this message to me.
Say that.
You know?
Yeah.
Why do we feel like that all the time?
It's not we feel like that. It's a fact of life. Wherever you go, we seem to get discriminated against and victimized. I don't see it changing. And there's a case recently, even in Kenya, where they had to close down a nightclub that was refusing to let in black people. Yeah. In Nairobi, in Kenya. I mean, ridiculous.
But in Bali, really, I did not see any form of, you know, act of discrimination while I was there. I don't know, maybe I was there as a tourist. It was just a few days, so I can't also jump into conclusion to really say that within 6 or 7 days I can judge, because they can distinguish between who's new and treat you right to someone who's leaving there. So I cannot really judge.
That's always the test, is that are you a visitor? If you are a visitor, they'll be nice to you. If they think you're staying, it might be slightly different
as to the treatment. But anyway, I'm back, so you know, I'll explain more as we go by. Like I said, it's always good to be back. So as usual, we have the African proverb here, my favorite part of the program, and newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Ade Drami, to help us analyze some of the stories that we have. And today we'll be also taking a look at the work of NARI when it comes to research, because the rainy season has started. We want to know if NARI is researching when it comes to crops that can, you know, behave differently during the rainy season, that form of, you know, adapting and all of that. And, you know, the issue of fertilizers as well, I think it's something that we need to talk about, because there's this liquid fertilizer. I think this is an opportunity for us to engage NARI, because according to the advertisement that I saw, it clearly says that, you know, NARI has approved the use of that liquid fertilizer. So I think it's an opportunity, because it's something new.
I think you better tell our viewers what NARI is.
So NARI is the National Agricultural Research Institute. Yes, Agricultural Research Institute, which is NARI. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this conversation, especially the part of the liquid fertilizer, because I've seen the advertisement all over, but it's quite new So it's a chance for us to
clear. I'm sure the farmers will be paying keen attention to that as well.
To that particular part,
sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And also on social issues, we're taking a look at Tobacco Regulation Act of the Gambia, and we'll be joined by a senior health officer from the Non-Communicable Disease Department of the Ministry of Health. Tobacco control, interesting, taking a look at young people, how they use it, why they use it.
World No Tobacco Day just recently.
It's
an ideal time to discuss it.
Yeah, and in the story here, it says that in a task force operation involving officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Customs, and the NEA public health officers, 22 suspects have been arrested for violation of the Tobacco Control Act. So the joint operation is to reinforce, control when it comes to Tobacco Act. So we'll be taking a look at this on the social issues. And on Sports Wall, we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga. I do not need to tell you what Mamadou Gajaga is coming here to talk about.
Tennis?
No, football.
Basketball?
Football. Gambia and South Sudan. Looking forward to that. Looking forward. How do you feel about it?
I'm slightly nervous because I've been reading up on South Sudan, and in fact I circulated an article today from their coach. He says to us in South Sudan, football is more than just a game.
Oh.
He said for us it's like very, very serious.
Okay.
Because even though it's the newest country in Africa, it's also a country where soon after it became independent, they had a civil war within 6 months. And he said that football is the one thing that has united the nation.
Amazing.
And so for them, they want to make their nation proud rather.
Well,
so that pride is what drives them in every game.
As much as they want to make their nation's proud, we also have confidence in what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the past tournament that we had in Cameroon, it was a very good one. So we are also not just going to play, but we are playing to win.
We're playing to win, and we have to go into it with confidence, but not overconfidence, because that can be, as somebody
detrimental.
I played sport, and I've
well,
been in teams that were overconfident.
I think when it comes to Gambia competing outside now, I mean, the difficult part have already passed. I mean, that is qualifying for the past AFCON and going into AFCON, going up to quarterfinals.
I think that will really boost.
Well, I think
it boosts Gambia, but it also makes you a threat to other countries, because they thought, oh, this little Gambia
was able to
they were at the quarterfinal. So I mean, So let's.
Are you French? All of a sudden, quarterfinal.
I keep
so
blending.
Who's going to Senegal? I don't know. Who's going to Senegal?
Gajaga and possibly Tafakinte.
Tafakinte will be going. Okay.
And some other people are going just to watch the match.
Yeah, and the new stadium is really, really nice.
That's not where they're going to be playing.
Oh, that's not where?
They're playing in chess.
Oh, unfortunately.
Oh, chess.
But still, yeah. I think this is an opportunity for us as a country, really, to also look back at what we have as a country, considering that our stadium is not even, good enough. Not fit, as an independent country. We have to go to our neighbor, Senegal, to play there. So I think this is just, in as much as, we are making it, we are progressing, but also let's look inward when it comes to our infrastructure.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we are one of 8 African countries that are in exactly that situation, where our national stadium is not fit for purpose. It's not fit to host matches. Sierra Leone is one of them, Liberia is another. And I say there are 8 African countries that are in the same position. It doesn't make you feel better, I know, but we need to get our act together.
We need to.
Definitely.
We need to. Yeah, so what is our African proverb?
All right. The usefulness of a well is known when it dries up. The usefulness of a well is known when it dries up. It's a Ugandan proverb.
Yes.
It's from Uganda.
It's also the same as when they say you never know you had a good thing until it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of similar thing. When it's there, you take it for granted. When it's gone, you think, my gosh, this was the thing that brought us life. Imagine a well where from which you...
Yeah,
right.
so I think we will get back to Mr. Ade shortly. Yes, so the usefulness of a well is known when it dries up. Sometimes you have certain things and you feel like, it's not good enough for you. It's too small. It's not. In fact,
it's not even far. I have a very good example.
Yeah.
I used to drive a very small car. I mean.
And everybody used to mock you.
They
used to call it Mr. Bean or something.
My small vehicle.
Where's that car?
I followed what people said and I sold my car. I bought a 4-wheel drive. Can you imagine?
It didn't work.
My 4-wheel drive gives me problem all the time. So, I mean. Edu can relate. Edu knows what I'm talking about.
So it didn't work. People
keep calling me Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean. So I said, okay, let me sell this car and buy a 4-wheel. So I bought a 4-wheel drive. Jenaba, it didn't even take me 2 months. I didn't drive my 4-wheel for 2 months.
And Mr. Bean.
And it's still packed. I drove Mr. Bean for 2 good years.
Look at that.
It didn't give me any problem.
So that is why it's not good to listen to people. Sometimes you have to go with what you have. You know, make good use of what is available.
In fact, you see,
because the moment it dries up.
Did you see the problem there?
I see the problem there. And the thing is, you have to, I'm very kind of stubborn type of person. I don't get swayed by what people tell me. And even since I was a child, you know, I don't get swayed. But your Mr. Bean, as
was very good.
You
should
have stuck with Mr. Bean.
Yeah,
that's the biggest
and also, fuel-wise, it's very economical.
I drove that car to Basse. I spent 1,500. Can you imagine? Full tank. I mean, I went to Basse.
Look at that.
But the 4-wheel, I have to buy 3,000.
And at the end of the day, now you don't have a car?
I don't have a car now.
Look at that. Look at that.
I'm part of the ones I'm part of the group that are struggling now.
You are careless.
So sometimes there are little things that we have, very little things, and we do not, use them. For example, let me take, okay, you gave your own scenario. Let me give mine. You know, when I was going into the University of the Gambia, a lot of people felt like, why should you go to the University of the Gambia? Rather, look for scholarships and go outside. Okay. I was like, it's not available. This is what I have at this point in time, in as much as you feel that I have to go outside, but this is what is available. You know, so now I have a degree. Masters came and they're like, you have a degree in Gambia. Why not try outside to have the international experience? I'm like, I've applied for several scholarships. I got rejected. It's not for me. I'm going back to the University of the Gambia. And within a short period, I'll be done as well. Yeah. That is because this is what I have, and I'm trying to make good use of it. If I sat all those years waiting for that scholarship to go outside of the country, I might be stuck. I would not have been where I am right now. So sometimes it's important that the little things we have, we make good use of it and move.
Because if we don't, when it's gone, you'll regret it. Because you could have gone somewhere else and it might not have worked out for all sorts of reasons. So, you know, this one is a very, very useful proverb, I think. You know, usefulness of a well is known when it dries up. Brilliant. Yeah.
All right, so we move on. I know some people will be like, oh, she's back. You know, she'll be eating up our time with the African proverb. Let's move.
Well, that's your nickname. When you were away, it was Geneva African Proverb Sonko.
It was Geneva African Proverb Sonko. Anyway, we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will head right on to newspaper review. We'll be right back.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75C and $100C and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10C to $100C using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. If you've missed anything, head right onto our Facebook page as well as our YouTube to try to catch up with what you've missed. We've already dealt with the African proverb. Now we are heading straight on to the newspaper review, taking a look at what the newspapers are saying today. That's The Voice.
Yes, The Voice newspaper, and some of the headlines of The Voice newspaper reads, Governor Sedi says, inflationary pressures continued to persist, and of course, bakers won against hiking bride. I wanted to say bride price. I hope I'm not thinking of getting a second one.
Well, that's an interesting slip there.
Well, she must be, yeah, but then. All right, bakers won against hiking bread price, and of course, the Ministry of Justice, GRRC, recommends 69 people for prosecution. GRA officials attend regional data analysis training. Okay. And what do we have here? FSQA temporarily closed down Brickhammer Fish Market over unhygienic conditions. What is wrong with Brikama market? Well, every time the same thing.
Well, this time at the fish market, and if anybody saw the news on QTV, either yesterday at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or today at midday, they will see something quite horrific, and it deserves to be closed.
I think they should do something with Brikama fish market.
Well, it's closed.
A whole lot of,
Excuse me.
All right. Yes, that's where we have Geneva. Mr. Ade, can you?
I have The Point newspaper, and I love these types of stories, which you only ever see in Africa. Money doubler convicted. And I'll get into that when we open up. And Gambians in Bissau demand removal of Deputy Chief of Mission. And then again, another interesting story there. And this one, really good kudos to the Gambia, really. GPU president to serve in IFJ Gender Council. And again, we'll delve into that. And then GP briefs Petroleum Minister on current state of affairs. That's Gambia Petroleum. And then Agric Ministry announces price of fertilizers as crop season begins in earnest.
Is that all?
Over to you, Jennifer.
Yeah, so moving on Fourier here, we have Gambians lament recent bread shortage, high costs as well. And also tuk-tuk drivers ask for explanation from police over their ban. And also fuel prices remain unchanged in June. And GPU president to serve in the IFJ Gender Council. And also Central Bank of the Gambia governor says inflation accelerated to 11.7% in 2022. And here, what is the fate of depositors of foreign currencies in foreign currency accounts of the Gambia? That is all we have. So, Ibrahim, where should we start from? Should we start from the Brikama market?
All right, let's start with the Brikama market. I think it's important, and it's been on our news yesterday.
It was on our news yesterday, and if anybody saw it, there's an environmental agency that contacted. They posted actually on Twitter that they've heard about this market. So I then contacted them on Twitter. I said, well, watch QTV News at 8 o'clock and you will be horrified. And it really was quite disgusting, the images that were shown. To imagine that people were selling food for consumption by humans in those conditions beggars belief. I mean, you watch it, you can't believe that people have been doing this for years. And then the people who had their sort of markets closed down were saying, well, can we be allowed to sell our stock, get rid of it? And the authorities were saying, well, no, because you haven't even got refrigeration. They said, give us another day. They said, you haven't even got refrigeration facilities. The conditions in which you're selling them are quite disgusting. No, we're not going to allow you. And so that one is it's gone viral because people have been posting pictures. Some of them are screenshots from the QTV story, some of them screenshots from other channels that showed it. But it really is quite shocking that.
You know, Mr. Ade, sometimes I ask myself, when are we going to put an end to this once and for all? I mean, every year, the issue of Brikama fish market, we must talk about it. You understand? So I think we should find a one-time solution to this.
Yeah, and again, I think something that is worth taking a look at has to do with the issue of inspections. Because for me, really, in as much as the Brikama Area Council has a problem as in the condition of the market, but how about the body put in place to inspect these things, to raise the alarm even before we reach here? Why did we reach here?
Look at that condition.
Why did we reach here?
Well, there you are on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, but what's the question is, how did we reach here and why?
This is it. I mean, you have the body that's meant to inspect, but also there was a valid point made by the people who were selling in the market. Yeah. They say we pay $50 a day. Yeah. What are we paying for? If the authorities that we're paying the money to are not coming to clean up or make the place fit for us to be able to sell food. I mean, it's quite disgusting when you see the images. It's horrific. But I think we must make the point. We're saying Brikama market. There are other markets.
Yeah, it's a general thing.
I mean, my market in Coastal Road is equally dreadful. Yeah. And you know, those places, in fact, I stopped buying food there. Because of the condition of that particular
So the problem here is the proper steps are not taken from inception, and when the damage has been done, it's all over social media. Everybody's talking about it, and we want to find a solution to it. But this has been cooking. It has been cooking for so long. So throughout that time, what was happening?
It's you know, and for me, we talk about Gambia, Africa not having a kind of maintenance culture and so on. Even the Brikama, the Basse market, which is already people are complaining. You know, this was fantastically, it looked brilliant when it was open, and that's what you get. There's no sustainability mechanism for maintaining the market. I mean, a market where people, people are going to buy food, you must make it fit for human consumption. You know, if I was somebody who wanted, seeing the condition, I wouldn't even walk to that place to buy my fish or anything.
But Mr. Ade, let's take a look at this angle too. I mean, Jennifer mentioned something very important, that, I mean, the people responsible for the market. At the end of the time, these people are paying $50 every day for this. But how are we sure whether these $50 are going to the right place, you know, to make sure the market is clean? I mean, certain things to be taken care of.
That's an interesting question, because for the people, as far as they're concerned, the people who come are the officials, and for them, they have no mechanism to check or monitor. Is it going? You know, you pay, you get a receipt. So that's, for them, that's their proof that they've paid. Whether it's going to the right place, that's a question that needs to be asked, because, you know, if it's not going to the right place,
I'm pretty sure if at all the money is going to the right place, with all those $50 collected in 1 year, you should be able to do something.
Even if the money is going to the right place, due to, you know, bad, you know, processes, it can still not.
But you've made the most valid point here, which is that if there is an inspection mechanism,
then why didn't that take place? It should not. So for me, I do not want the blame to be completely on the Birkama market. I can't accept that. For me, it's basically knowing that this has been cooking, it's been there, and we all ignored it, and when it's bad, everybody jumps.
Because our colleagues who live in Birkama, when they come, they complain to us. And they've been complaining for 2-3 years. So why is it taking this long? And it should not take this long.
The collection mechanism, you know, we always talk about this, the fact that everything is now changing. There's no need for somebody to even come and take physical cash. That era has passed. The moment physical cash is involved, you can't rule out corruption. There's nothing you can do.
This is it.
Well, I think for them, actually, I mean, it should be, you can use other means of collecting or maybe other means of paying. But they do things that are very convenient to them. I mean, maybe coming and giving you receipt and picking this, you understand? I can pretend I've given you a valid receipt while it's
you
not
can even go print your own receipt.
Look,
you know,
it's very easy.
It's just a paper.
Of course, if you listen, and you know, just to extend this, if you listen to certain radio stations, you hear adverts about people checking their national insurance, you know, contributions. They get weekly, monthly wage slip saying it's been paid, but when they check, they haven't been paid. And so they're telling people, make sure you actually contact the authorities to check whether your contributions are being paid. Because if you get to the end of your employment and those contributions have not been paid, you're going to suffer. So even there, where they give you a slip which shows, you know, from your employer that your employer is making the contributions on your behalf, you still have to check. So like, there are ways of getting
I think
everything.
People in Gambia here do not even go check their social security contributions.
They don't.
I, for one, I've never done it. So I think it's important because you never know what's happening to your money.
In fact, I was giving one of our colleagues a lift, and we heard the advert, and he said tomorrow I'm going to go and check.
Yeah, I think we should endeavor. I never checked as well.
Yeah.
I never checked.
Well, it's important to check because it's your money. You're the one contributing. So Babukar Sise, Momodu Gajaga, do something about the fish market in Brikama. It's your market.
It's your market.
Yeah, so moving on, what should we take a look at?
Let's take a look at the tuk-tuk drivers.
The tuk-tuk drivers,
they said they demand an explanation.
They have been
why are they being impounded?
Yes, their vehicles have been impounded or just told to be kept off the roads. We've heard all sorts of stories, and we do need clarification because one story said that they were all being operated by foreigners, a lot of them Sierra Leoneans. I don't know why.
But if that's the case,
and so what? They're ECOWAS citizens.
Well, I will not. I don't get that. For me, actually, I came across a video where I think the head of traffic or something by the name King Koli. I mean, he was like, I think it was the same thing. I mean, giving certain things to foreigners. You know, he was mentioning it.
He was saying this.
He was saying it. Yeah. I mean, we are not allowing foreigners to drive in this country, especially commercial vehicles. But for me, I think there is nothing wrong with that. Foreigners are driving vehicles in Nigeria. And Nigeria is the busiest traffic.
And Gambians are driving vehicles all over the world.
All over the world. Yeah. So why should you ban them?
Yeah, but he apologized.
But he said, this is law. He did not say it, but the law said this. Foreigners are not allowed to acquire driving license here, commercial driving license in this country.
I wasn't aware of that, and that would be bizarre, because if a foreigner has right of residency in a country, why can they not? That might be their job. They might be a taxi driver or a truck driver. Why can't they acquire that license? It seems bizarre, but it might be true. I mean, after all, he's somebody who ought to know the law. Let's hope he does know the law. But if that is true, then it's bizarre, because it doesn't make sense.
You know, I went home the other day and I said to my little brother, I mean, they impounded all this vehicle, this tricycle. They said foreigners should not drive them in this country. My brother said to me, what about if Gambians are not ready to drive them?
Yeah, I mean, which is the point that I was going to come to, because why is it that all of them seem to be driven by foreigners? What's stopping Gambians from driving them? I mean, this story, that's why I said we need to know more. Because
because here they're talking about the fact that, they even formed an association and they're engaging authorities, but none of the stakeholders is ready to listen to them. So I think really the real cause is yet to be established. I think it's a developing story to actually follow, to know the actual reason why they stopped them and all these allegations.
And the reason I'm smiling is because they contacted us and we wanted to go to interview them, and then they told us not to come.
Okay.
So
that's
which is why we're none the wiser, because that's kind of dodgy. Like, why wouldn't you want us to come and interview you so you can put your side of the story? So we ended up not interviewing them. So it would be interesting to hear.
Here we have Gambians lament recent bread shortage, high costs.
Yes.
So the last time the Trade Ministry's Deputy Permanent Secretary was here, and you know, we questioned him in relation to this allegation that when it comes to the flour, it's like there's monopolized, you know, but according to him, you know, he didn't want to actually agree, and we do not expect him to agree, because these are like underground policies that governments do, so he wouldn't come here to agree with it, but directly it is alleged that that is what is causing this problem that we are facing.
Well, I mean, the war in Russia, Ukraine, where a lot of wheat comes from, is impacting everyone across the world. Of course, Gambia no exception.
True, but don't you think if it's monopolized on top of the existence of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the evidence, because as you said, you know, nobody's admitting to that.
Yes, no one's admitting.
But it would be good to know, you know, what is the evidence for it. We are journalists. That is the kind of thing, the proof that we see.
Yeah, but sometimes you push for these things and, you know.
Yeah, when we have to dig.
We dig, yeah? We dig. I think we have one more story to go until time's up.
Okay, Gambians in Bissau demand removal of Deputy Chief of Minister, or we can go to GPU President to serve in IFJ Gender Council.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one, and as I said, kudos to the Gambia.
Yeah.
And so it is the International Federation of Journalists, and MS Bar has been elected to serve a 3-year term on the Gender Council of the International Federation of Journalists. Very, very reputable organization. I don't know, I suspect he's also right now in Muscat in Oman.
Well, I saw the Secretary General. I'm not sure if MS is there.
Oh, right.
But I'm not sure. I saw the
MS
Secretary
is the one
General
who's been nominated to the Congress.
Yeah. So here I saw that through being part of this council, you know, he will advise the executive committee and member unions on proposal for policy projects and actions needed to bring gender issues into mainstream of the IFJ work, you know, and now just Gambia has now revived, I can say, the Female Journalists Association. So I think support coming from here can be channeled directly to the work of WOJAC. So I think it's a good thing. It's timely, considering it's now.
Much. I mean, because the council to which he is now being appointed also has a duty to engage women in equally in all International Federation of Journalists affairs, because they know that this is lacking. So it's not just Gambia where we have problems with women's representation. It's across the world.
Yeah, but generally in the media, why do you think we're still there? Women, you know, are not where they're supposed to be. I saw a video of Oprah talking about how when she was starting the media, she was paid $22,000, and because the co-host is a man, paid $50,000. And when she went to the boss to ask, why am I paid this? The boss said, you're a woman. Do you have children? Do you have a house?
Or are you planning to have?
Why should you be paid equally as a man who's taking care of a family? Women too take care of families.
Sure. And you know, the interesting thing about that is that about 15 years ago, somebody leaked the pay of all the senior BBC journalists, and everybody was shocked. across the board, all the men were paid more than the women, even though they were equally qualified, they were doing the same job. People who had been co-hosting with a male co-host suddenly found...
Ibrahima, I'm suspecting you.
You know, suddenly
Ibrahima, how are you paid? How much are you paid, Mr. Ade? How much is he paid?
That's a skeleton in the cupboard.
You are paid. How much are you paid?
Well, that's a skeleton in the cupboard.
Somebody might have to leak it, but
I'll find out
what they found out, and the pay difference.
And you will be disappointed.
Don't say that. I will not take that.
You will be disappointed.
But the pay difference was quite significant.
Yeah.
And those female journalists ended up successfully suing the BBC for equal pay. And of course now they're on equal pay. They wouldn't dare not pay them equally. So that's the situation now.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us, Ade Drami, for joining us here. So moving on, we will now take a look at Community Watch, taking a look at the work of NARI. So we'll just go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, the show continues. Thanks for joining us.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. From the newspaper review, now we head right on to our Community Watch here, taking a look at the work of NARI and the National Research Institute, and we'll be taking a look at the rainy season, crop yield, you know, that form of resistance, as well as liquid fertilizers, because, you know, I've seen, you know, advertisements going around, and according to that particular advertisement, it is you know, it has passed through regulations when it comes to NARI for farmers to actually use that liquid fertilizer, which is not quite known. So this is an opportunity for us to know. So we're joined by Dr. Lamin Diba, Director of Research from there. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for availing me the opportunity to be on QTV to talk about NARI's research activities. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about something that is not really we're not really certain about, and something that is quite new, which has to do with the liquid fertilizer. Tell us about that. Thank you very much. And NARI, as the main agricultural research institute of this country, so any fertilizer that is coming into this country, is the mandate of NARI to test that fertilizer and look at its efficacy to see whether it can be able to support crop growth to the level that we can be able to recommend it to go to the farmers. So NARI does those kind of things frequently. Yeah, so we do test different types of liquid fertilizers. But liquid fertilizers and chemical fertilizers, so when you look at those two different types of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, though they have a lot of advantages over especially the liquid fertilizer, in terms of their availability to crops, especially if you want to get the effect instantly, is the chemical fertilizers. But the liquid fertilizers are more environmental friendly. So that's why we are now encouraging the farmers to shift into using liquid fertilizer now that even the price of fertilizer is exorbitant in the markets. Talking about, if the information we are getting is right, is the cost of fertilizer bag is going to about $2,500, which, you know, a lot of farmers in this country will not be able to afford. So that's a concern. So we've conducted some tests on certain liquid fertilizers, which, you know, farmers can also look as alternatives.
Yeah, but is it tested in depth? You know, because it's completely new. You know, did you do like can you point to us of a study or something that's been done? Because, you know, maybe the measurement, it's different. We're all used to the potassium, whatever, that I don't know the terms that we are used to using, those kinds of fertilizers. So now that we are shifting, is the proper education done to ensure that these farmers understand what they are doing?
Yes, just to add on that, we want to avoid the case whereby farmers start using the liquid fertilizer, and at some point, you know, some crops will not try to will not go well with the liquid fertilizer.
So yeah, with liquid fertilizer, what's been going on right now? Most of the fertilizers that are coming into the country, they are not taking them to NARI for us to be able to test those fertilizers.
Right, that is why I asked that question.
So that's the problem. So you cannot be able to say anything on those, about the effect of those fertilizers. And they are available in the market.
And that is why,
and people are buying
that is why I asked this question. If you are doing the right thing as to this entering the market, you know, so who's responsible for that? Who's supposed to regulate these things entering the market? Because I thought you are supposed to be that entry point to say this should enter the market or not. Yeah. Which means there's an institution that's not doing what's right.
Exactly.
Is it?
So there's a whole lot of things that we need to be able to do when it comes to fertilizer regulations. NARI is doing a lot when it comes to making sure that fertilizers are tested and they are given to the farmers in a rightful manner. Okay. So we've taken steps and acquire a fertilizer testing machine. Okay. Because in the past, that is not available in the country. If you want to test fertilizer, you go all the way to Senegal and you spend a lot of money. So we have acquired this through support from FAO, which we call the AA Servant. So with that machine installed, we can be able to do rapid tests, but there should be a lot of sensitization around this, especially those that are bringing these liquid fertilizers into the country, to know that it will not be proper for you to just go and then give those fertilizers to the farmers without knowing what's the efficacy of those fertilizers. That's a problem that we need to work on.
Don't you think, I mean, you should have a proper setup whereby each fertilizer that is to be used on a farm is tested by NARI. But if people are bringing fertilizer in the country without NARI being aware, then there's a problem, and you're supposed to be the research institute of the Gambia.
Another question is, has NARI ever tested any liquid fertilizer? The reason I asked is I saw a specific advertisement where it clearly says NARI tested. So has NARI ever conducted any test on any liquid fertilizer? That's the question here.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I would say that particular liquid fertilizer was taken to NARI for us to test it. And we tested, but testing fertilizers, because we have to test it at the field level, because there are 2 points that you can be able to test fertilizer, using the AA Servant and also taking it to the field and test it there. And that's what we did. And to do that, you don't have to just test 1 year and then conclude. So the results that are provided to that particular individual, these were results that we tested on one location and during one cropping season. Okay, then why did you allow it to enter the market after passing through NARI? No, NARI gave the individual a recommendation that based on what we did that during that particular period, the results are impressive. But you need to also take your time to make sure that this is repeated twice or 3 times. We call the individual to even be careful about some of those promotions that are going.
But the promotion was on.
Yeah, it was viral. We saw it.
And NARI's name was attached.
And our name was attached, and then we have to call them.
So you stop them?
We did not go to the level of stopping them, but we make it clear that the results, if we are taking this particular fertilizer to advertise, you have to make sure that you indicate that this is tested during one season.
But that was not indicated.
It has to be tested two or three times before we can be able to get to the conclusion that yes, this fertilizer is
which means NARI is not biting.
Dr. Ziba, what do you think is the problem? Why are people bypassing NARI? Why?
Yeah, I think, these are businessmen. So if you want them to spend a lot of time for you to for them to wait for NARI to conduct meaningful research, for them that will be a wastage of time for them, and that they are going to lose money while they are waiting for NARI to do that. So that's why the moment they are able to lay their hands on the first results, they are gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, they are gone because they are looking for money.
So if at all now, NARI is not doing the testing of the fertilizer, then what is NARI doing?
Then there is a problem. NARI...
No, that's the problem that we want to... we are talking about that problem. If at all you are the Research Institute of the Gambia,
yes,
and you are not doing that now, people are bypassing you, doing whatever they want.
I think there should be a regulation.
Are you biting? According to Janaba, are you biting? Is NARI biting?
What? No, NARI is not biting anything.
You don't bite?
No.
Okay.
NARI is not biting anything. So I think there should be a regulation that should be above NARI, that should stamp its feet to make sure that any fertilizer that is coming into this country, before it can go into the market, to make sure that it has to pass through NARI and be tested. That has to be there. But right now, that's not in existence.
That's the right procedure.
That's the sad part.
Yeah.
So yes. So moving on,
yes.
let's talk about new, crop varieties. Especially with the coming of the rainy season. What have you been working on? What have you been working, especially when it comes to rice? Things like that.
In fact, when it comes to crop research, so I would say more than 50% of NARI's work is in that area. So this book that I have with me, this is a catalog of crop varieties. You have about almost 195 crop varieties that are screened by NARI and released into the farming system.
Okay.
So when you look about, when you talk about rice production, especially during this coming rainy season, we've received information that the amount of rainfall that we are expected to receive is going to be above normal. So if that's the case, NARI has provided certain technologies that can be able to do well during those kind of situations.
Okay.
Because if you could recall the famous set of varieties by the name Naricas.
Narika,
NARI did a
climate.
That's a climate smart variety. NARI did a lot of work to screen to get those varieties into this country, screen them in collaboration with the Africa Rice Center, because the way those varieties were bred, two different set of rice varieties were looked at: the Oryza glaberrima and the Oryza sativa. So all these different types of rice varieties have their strengths and their weaknesses. So when you look at the Oryza glaberima, this a particular type of rice variety that is prevalent in Africa and African settings. So it has a lot of resistance. It can grow under several types of stresses, and it can do well. But its yield potential is very, very low compared to sativa, which the Asian type. But the Asian types, the advantage of that is it does not do very well on the African settings because we have a lot of stresses. But its yield potential is very high. So this is what the breeders use, and then cross these two different rice varieties to bring a new set of varieties.
And
that
this is communicated to the farmer in
Yes. And within those two varieties, you have traits. Good traits from both parents, and this is what formed the Narika varieties. So even if we have stresses whereby we expecting drought, they can be able to do well because these are planted in the pure upland areas. So, but if also rainfall goes above normal, these types of varieties would do extremely well because at that time they would work under normal condition, not growing under stresses. So these varieties have been screened by NARI and they're available in this country.
So, due to time constraints, I just want to ask this question. In Gambia here, we import to the extent we import vegetables. Okay. What is the problem? Is it that suñ suuf bi dafa am problem? Wala nit ñi ñoo liggéeyut? I'm just giving an example that we just import even things that we can grow here. Is it because there's a problem? Is there a scientific problem?
That is a problem that we have to solve. Is it scientific? It's not scientific. I think it has to do with policy.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to do with policy, because if you concentrate on the production area, after production, processing and the like also needs to be looked at.
Okay.
Because if you want to get vegetable farmers, especially when you talk about tomatoes, you want people to produce more of that. It's a highly perishable commodity.
Right.
Yeah, so if you want to produce more and then you don't have storage facilities, you don't have processing facilities, so all of it will get rotted.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it has nothing to do with our soil. Our soil is
no.
okay.
The soil is okay.
Scientifically.
The soil is fertile.
Okay.
It's fertile.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yes, the soil is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
it has to do with
well,
policy.
I mean, I don't think
to fix those issues.
Dr. Diba, I don't think we should struggle in this country while we have institutions like NARI.
Definitely.
I mean, experts when it comes to research.
Why the required tools? Do you have the required tools in terms of the scientific
you
part?
got the tools.
In as much as NARI exists,
but I will be disappointed if NARI tells me they don't have the tools. NARI,
do you have the required tools?
Doctor, do you have the tools?
The required tools to make sure.
That's another constraint area, especially when it comes to labs.
Exactly.
Because when you want to do meaningful research, you cannot be able to do that in absence of labs.
And
currently we are struggling in that area. Yeah. Because
you are NARI. They have the money.
You have the money.
NARI have the money.
That's the impression that everybody has in this country, that NARI has money. NARI definitely. NARI is struggling. NARI is struggling. NARI is struggling with a lot of issues. That we have to fix to be able to take our research agenda forward.
So which means you have constraints when it comes to laboratory.
Serious ones. So that's why even though we are mandated to do both applied and adaptive research, we are able to do little applied.
Yes. So any partnership with other countries, because normally when it comes to research as such, you look up to countries that are there.
Exactly.
So do you have any form of partnerships, fellowships where our own Gambians go to learn, to come back to learn about varieties that are working in other countries and how we can make it work here?
Yeah, we do that quite very often.
Okay.
Even when it comes to conducting applied research, especially when you have to breed new crop varieties. That's not an easy task, because you have to look for traits that can be able to solve your problems. You look at rice varieties that have those traits, you extract them and then put them in new varieties and develop them. So NARI at the moment is not in a position to be able to do that kind of research, because it needs to be the NARI needs to be supported with laboratories that can be able to take up those kind of research. So what we do, we collaborate with the international research institutes. We call them the CGIA centers. So they are across Africa. You have the Africa Rice is there. Anytime we want to do anything that has to do with rice, we consult the Africa Rice. So there is also ICRISAT. When you talk about groundnut, that's where we will source those varieties that can solve our problems, because NARI's mandate is to provide technological solutions that are going to address our farmers' problems. So we make sure that those crop varieties that we are bringing into our country, they are able to address those problems. So we collaborate with them to get
education locally, capacity building. How about capacity building locally when it comes to, our University of the Gambia? Is there a component or something? Or any on-the-job training for young Gambians? Building capacities to ensure research.
Yeah, University of the Gambia, it's the programs that are there. Now it goes up to master's level.
Yes.
So we had a consultant in 2020 who wanted to introduce crop breeding.
Yeah.
Currently, we don't have that at the University of the Gambia. So if you want to train breeders, you have to move out of this country. Yeah, but there are steps and plans. It was because of COVID-19, we could not set that. But the consultant did tremendously in the pushing forward, so that at the University of the Gambia can be able to mount those courses, so that we can train our Gambians here in our own soil.
Okay.
Yeah, to produce people who I know are breeders.
Yeah, but Ibrahima, do you observe that whatever problem happens recently, it's put on COVID?
Yeah, COVID has to
because sometimes we cannot even judge if these things are deliberate or it's because of COVID.
At the end of
I
the
cannot
time,
judge.
Of course, it's COVID.
Because
because this individual was brought into the country by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
All right.
And because, you know, they have their own policies. During COVID, to be even to work interacting with people is not possible.
True.
So because of that, they have to ask him to go back.
Okay, then that is granted.
He could not complete his contract successfully.
Yeah, but is he coming back then?
Yeah, that arrangement right now, I don't think.
So you mean we have lost that to COVID, right?
Yeah.
Well, COVID-19 blame is too much. I mean,
too much. So anyway,
thank you for coming.
Finally, yes, you know, what should we expect quickly in a minute from the Research Institute?
Yeah, I think what NARI as a research institute need a lot of support, because if you look at agriculture, if for instance you envisage agriculture as a vehicle, the engine of that vehicle is NARI. So if NARI is not functioning, for agriculture itself to function will be a problem, because NARI has to be at the forefront to identify what problems are our farmers having and be able to provide technological solutions to address that. So if NARI is crippled, the entire system will be crippled. So those decision makers up there need to look at that and provide solutions so that agriculture itself can go forward.
I will take it.
It's not totally, but at the moment a lot of support to move.
When you look at farming in the Gambia, it means NARI is crippled at the moment.
Anyway, but I think the new minister of Agriculture
that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I saw the new Minister of Agriculture on a familiarization tour. Came to NARI. Okay, did he mention any plans? No, not yet.
A lot of plans that he was going to make research priority. And if that happens, then we would move in the right direction.
Dr. Sabali, right?
Yes.
So I think that is all we have time for.
Dr.
Thank you so much for coming. So so moving on, we have this story on in a task force operation involving officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Customs, and NEA public health officers. 22 suspects have been arrested for violation of Tobacco Control Act. So the joint operation is to reinforce the Tobacco Control Act, and we'll be joined here by some officials to help us understand the issue of the Tobacco Control Act and what can be done to actually work on this menace. We'll be right back.
The police, together with its sister forces and public health officers, are on an operation to enforce tobacco control laws in Banjul, Birkama and Serekunda. QTV joins one of the patrolling teams, and our first stop is at Serekunda Market. Shops were inspected, with those found to be violating the tobacco laws arrested and asked to close their shops, and are taken to the Serekunda police station to be processed and charged. Pasama Bojang is a commissioner at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency who doubles as the head of enforcement, monitoring and evaluation of the Tobacco Control Unit.
Now we believe after these activities, it will be a continuity, because we're going to engage the head of units like the SOs, the OCs also, to see to that there will be continuity of these operations. And being the head of that unit, I will try to be following up, monitoring how significant, how they are moving on with the issues. It may not be like we'll see we are moving today, but there will be continuity. Power will be vested on the station officers, the police officers, the GRA personnel to act accordingly.
The operation targeted the enforcement of the Saxon Act, which prohibits anyone to display or make visible a tobacco product at any point of sale. If found guilty by the courts, these suspects can be fined not less than $10,000 or face at least a year in jail or face both penalties. Sherifo Singate is a senior program officer at the Non-Communicable Disease Unit of the Ministry of Health.
So Ministry of Health and partners like the Tobacco Policy Alliance for Africa, TOPAFA, has supported the Ministry of Health to make sure that this act is enforced and that provisions in the act are seriously taken by the public.
Exposure to or use of tobacco contributes to all the major NCDs in the Gambia. The Tobacco Control Act promotes limitations to the public health problems tobacco causes to our population. Lamin Kesise, a public health officer, tells us about the serious public health complications to our population posed by tobacco.
Smoking is contributed in a lot of non-communicable diseases like asthma, diabetes, hypertension, and then also we have realized that quite a number of female are also involved in smoking. So this is also leading to some of these miscarriages that are seen in our facility.
In 2010, a health survey on the prevalence of tobacco consumption in the Gambia indicated that 16.7% of Gambia's adult population aged between 25 to 65 smoke cigarettes. This means an estimated 367,000 of our population are cigarette smokers. The study further revealed that the prevalence of tobacco consumption in children aged between 13 to 15 is 10.5. This is the staggering figure for the Health Ministry that wants zero prevalence of tobacco smoking.
All right, Mahmoud Lamin Choi there on the Tobacco Control Act, giving us all the statistics, you know, when it comes to the use of tobacco here. But to further help us understand, we are joined by Zainab Ubara Cham, Program Officer at the Tobacco Control Unit, as well as Sifu Singate, Program Officer at the Tobacco Control Unit, Non-Communicable Disease Unit, Tobacco Control Directorate of the Health Promotion and Education Ministry of Health. So I think because it has to do with tobacco, and you know, Ibrahima, it's important that new olofal, new olofal, new sauce, you know, wow, information be muna aga funeka. So first of all, to start with, Sifo Singate, can you take us through just a little bit? I know the act is huge. We can't sinfinare set didn't fiyaga. Why just maybe nga what you the most selling points, the key provisions really that ensures that this is, you know, it stands out, the act stands out.
Exactly.
So mun nga ñoo wax lolu nonu rek.
Thank you very much. The Tobacco Control Act was enacted in 2016 December, and it came into force in December 2018. That is 2 years from its enactment. It can be enforced. So let's leave that to her.
Okay, no problem. So, you can go ahead.
Section 9 is about right to smoke-free environment. Every person that is living in this country has a right to breathe air that is free from environmental tobacco smoke. And Section 10 is saying that every smoker in this country has a right, has a responsibility to protect the next person that is near him from his or her tobacco smoke. It's not saying nobody should smoke, but if you are smoking, you have a responsibility to protect the next person near you. And to ensure that, you need to move away from that person 100 meters from that person that is near you. And another section is talking about smoking in public places, workplaces, and public transport. Nobody is allowed to smoke within 100 meters of a public place, workplace, or in a public transport. That is very clear. And the public places are specifically mentioned in the Act. They are places like our hospitals, our restaurants, our bantabas, our streets. Workplaces include offices like here, metal workshops, or other places of work. And public transport is those buses, taxis, and even your private car. If you give me a lift, it becomes a public transport. You are not supposed to smoke in that place. Another section is talking about the sale and display of tobacco products. That is, nobody is allowed to sell cigarette or to buy cigarette in single sticks. If you are to buy, you'll have to buy a whole pack or sell a whole pack. You are not to open the pack and sell it to others. The law bans that. And it's supposed not to be displayed as well. Well, when you enter a shop, you should not see cigarette displayed on the shelves. No. Or on the streets where you have these small tables, you display them nicely to attract people. It should not be. It is like a form of promotion and advertisement. The law bans that.
So we take it step by step, because it might be hard to digest if you want to just delve into it at once, because it's huge. So you mentioned something. You said, you know, it's forbidden to display, forbidden to sell one by one.
Single sticks.
You have to sell it in packs. So is there any inspection mechanism put in place through the Tobacco Control Unit, where sometimes you can just storm somewhere and just to see if you know, shops are following these regulations that you've put in place?
Exactly. There are mechanisms in place to enforce this law. And the Act has identified institutions or individuals that are empowered by the law to enforce these provisions. Public officers are one of those institutions or individuals. The police, who are #1 enforcers of all laws in this country. Customs, GRA, because they are also a stakeholder in terms of it, because they also have their own provisions or own act as when you violate, they can sue you to court, they can take proceedings against you. So they are also part of the Enforcement Authority and the National Environment Agency officials, the NEA officials. But also the onus lies on the minister to also designate any person to enforce this law. And we want to explore that provision, because we know these officers can't be everywhere, cannot be in all our communities, in everywhere where the public is. But we want to explore this opportunity, the minister to appoint or to authorize village authorities like VDCs, alikalis, and district chiefs to be enforcement officers in these villages. Because wherever there is a village, there is a VDC, there is a committee, there is an alikali. So if these people are appointed or given the powers to enforce this law, it will become way easy for enforcement authorities to ensure that this act is enforced.
Yeah, so we'll get back to that. Ibrahim, I think now it is important that you ham si Olof, lan la
sarta
yi firi. Xam nga duñ mëna dugg ci yépp parce que bobu dinañ fi fanaan. Inshallah, control unit bi xet na dinañ gisee suñ marketing team bi ñoo def fi a whole show. Inshallah, su ko defee ngeen use opportunity bobu nonu for a 1 hour educate nit ñi rek pour nit ñi xam ak bi lan la firi. Waaye yan few points nga ñu mëna pinpointal yoo xam ne diga foog nga ne nit ñi war nañ ko mëna xam te loolu lañ war a topp.
Jërëjëf Jaynaba, kontaan nañ torop pour nekk fi. So lu ñu waxtaanee rek moo nekk tabac bi. Te soo déggee tabac bi nekkul cigarette rek. Tabac bi moo nekk anything ndax cigarette la, ndax bi ñoo muucu la, ndax bi ñoo lok la. Waaw ba si sax shisha bi léegi bi nga xam ne dafa mel ni ndaal. Sagatuma la ndaw yi biñ dee use. Soo gisee Ministry of Health xam naa ku nekk dafa wax ne cigarette lan moo tax ñu cigarette soxal ñu bu baax a baax. Soo gisee dëkk bi bu njëkka ba feebar yu ne daan sonal moo nekk feebar yi waalante ay malaria yooyu noonu ñu daan sonal, waaye léegi gis nañ ne loolu changé na bu baax. Léegi feebar yu dee sonal moo nekk non communicable diseases. Feebar yi jamono bi léegi muy ndax diabète la, muy ndax tension la, muy ndax cancer yi la, muy ndax feebar yi saxat yi la. Te soo gisee feebar yooyu noonu time boobu dañ dee wax ne lii feebar yi borom xaalis la. Tay boobu ko soo déggee ko am diabetes da nga wax ne kii moom big man la, ko am hypertension big man. Waaye léegi Jaynaba soo seetee dëkk bi
fu nekk la nekk
soo ko amul tamit xam nga ku ko am waaye ku la jege. Te feebar yi seen dépasse dafa bare te seen laago tam dafa bari. Yaa ngi gis ne ñu bari si dëkk bi dog nañ seen tànkay because of diabetes. Ñu bari seen yenn cër yi nekkul léegi nii di def because of hypertension ak yooyu noonu. Ba pare cancer bi mu ngi rey yu bari. Te soo gisee feebar yi dafa am luñ ko dee wax risk factors, li nga xam ne soo ko amee o soo ko jëfandikoo pour nga am feebar yi daf dee gaaw torop. Te feebar yi soo ko seetee ñeneenti risk factor lañ wax ne moom soo ko dee def mbaa ngay ko jëfandikoo pour nga am feebar yi lu gaaw a gaaw la. Benn bi ñu ne su nekkee nekkuloo di lekka li nga war a lekka comme unhealthy diet, yaa ngi lekka fats ak yooyu noonu. Beneen bi ñu ne su nekkee yow nekkuloo di yëngatu moo nekk physical inactivity. Beneen bi ñu ne su nekkee ne yaa ngi naan sangara bu baax a baax maa ngay tux. Waaye soo seetee tux bi moom all of this feebar su nekkee yaa ngi tux pour nga am feebar yi dafa gaaw bu baax a baax. Te soo gisee tux bi ba léegi su fekkee Jaynaba man léegi man duma doxantu duma def loolu sonalut la. Waaye su fekkee maa ngi tux fii nii dina la sonal. So loolu moo tax cigarette mu soxal ñu bu baax a baax parce que soo gisee cigarette o tabac bi nii du la sonal lor rek yow mi ko jëfandikoo waaye ki jege sax te léegi dafa dem ba third hand smoking. First hand smoking moo nekk ki nga xam ne moom moo bugg a tux si boppam. Keneen ki second hand moo nekk kooku moom buggut a tux sax dafa fekkee ne daf ko fekkee rek muy nokki loolu noonu loolu affect
passive smoking.
Waaw passive smoker te am nañ third hand smoking for example su nekkoon ne ñëpp dem nañ man ma daw fii ma tux cigarette soo leen ñëwaatee sax dina des si taabule yooyu ba léegi loolu noonu mun na leen a lor. Te gëstu mu ngi wone ne soo seetee li dee jógee si tabac bi nii mooy tobacco products is about 7,000 chemicals. Te soo gisee 7,000 chemicals yi 70 wone nañ ne daf dee cause lii feebar bi nga xam ne moom lañ dee wax cancer. Te soo gisee yooyu noonu yëpp li laxasu si biir tobacco bi dafa bari. Gis nga godorong bi nekk suñ yoon yi mu ngi si cigarette moo tax so da ngaa gis ne nokkeekaay bi nga xam ne mooy lungs bu waral ngelaw bi di dugg ak a génn lii daf koo fata moo waral soo jegee ki nga xam ne tuxkat dëgg la da ngaa gis ni moo nokkee ak yow ni ngaa nokkee du benn su nekkoon ne moom dafa eeg si kawtaa bi da ngaa gis dafa xappat
waaw
pour mu nokki dafa soona
mooy suñ taax bi
waaw su réyee tuuti sax di nga gis ne dina sexaat loolu ne mi ko waral moo nekk ngelaw bi ak pax yooyu noonu la moo fata léegi su fekkee ne xam nga pax fatana xoola suñ yoon yi rek nu mu xatee yow pour nga egsi léegi fii xam nga loolu dafa jafe because yoon bi dafa xat so yoon yooyu noonu la moo xat moo tax muy indi feebar yu baree so lii yëpp dañ ko indi rek pour ñu teg loi léegi comme xam nga cigarette moom affaire am lu xew mu jafe moo nekk dafa nekk produit boo xam ne dafa lore waaye it's legal nekkul loo xam ne dañ ko aaye xam nga jàmba léegi nit yaa ngi koo tux waaye luñ aayee la dañoo nëbbu di ko tux waaye xam nga cigarette nekkul luñ aayee lii moo tax Ministre of Health mu ne naka la mun a def pour aar xam nga ñun suñ liggéey moo nekk pour aar wérgu yarami doomi aadama yi léegi naka la ñoo mun a def pour aar li nit yi doomu aadama yi si cigarette bi moo tax ñu tëral loi yi
léegi man lu ma laajte mooy lan ngeen nekk di def pour yëgal nit ñi lii
waaw
ndaxte communication bi dafa important trop waaye ba léegi you know ñu ngay gis nit yaa ngi tu léegi nga taxaw place nit ñëw taal cigarette tu mu gétteen la lool loolee naa def ba léegi pour stop loolu
waaw soo gisee comme lu ñoo def benn bi comme lii la ñun dañ am information bi rek waaye comme yéen su nekkee yéen tam joxul leen ñu place buñ ko mun a waxee nit yi du ñu mun a dégga te dañ commencé si grassroots levels at all regions schools we have had orientation meetings with principals, cluster monitors. We had orientation meeting with local authorities, alcalos, chiefs. Recently, last week, we were up country having with religious leaders because ñi dañ nekk loo xam ne suñ jàngo yi suñ jaamokaay suñ jumaay ñi dañ nekk loo xam ne dañ am gannaaw te am na ñu leen dee déggal waaye it all boils down to jikko xam nga jikko dafa nekk loo xam ne nit ki dangaa gis sax ne am na ñi nga xam ne ñu ngee tux ñooñu noonu ñu ngee liggéey si health bi xam nañ ne lii su ma ko defee dafa lifin waaye ba léegi ñu ngi ko def so it's behavioral change so foog ñu ngee communicate def nañ a lot of jàngale ba léegi jàngale bi gis nañ ne mu ngee lifin léegi nag commencé nañ nag loi bi di daanu si kaw nit
waaw waaye man li ma bëgg a laajte mooy yan plans dañ am tam pour xëj na am smoking areas
smoking zone
because man am na Gambia nag métti na dëgg suñ loxo jotut suñ gannaaw balaa ngaa taxawal xëj na argument bi might bi balaa ngaa taxawal loolu sax am na yoo xam ne amuñ ko waaye waaw comme ñu wax si dégga su dee dégga waaye ba léegi ndax am nañ plans yu mel noonu because ba léegi loolu tamit dina wàccee burden bi on the health sector of xëj na second hand ak third party bi ngay wax nii so lan yan plans moo am pour loolu xëj na bëgg naa xam
ñun suñ luwaa bi jey na ma dafa wax ne déedéet duñu am anything like smoking zone soo bëggee tux fi nga war a tuxee moo nekk téeméeri meetar nga next person because comme li ñoo wax rek léegi for example yéen seen place bi nii soo leen waxoon ne dañoo ut benn néeg pour tux rek léegi kan moo koo bale ndax dangaa wax ne tuxkat rek a koo bale
tuxkat yaa koo bale
xam nga loolu dafa problématique because am nga ñi nga xam ne ñoom nga dee fay pour ñu bale léegi jigéen bi nga xam ne dafa jógee kiram di ñëw di bale si kooku noonu planul pour tux
even because cigarette sa
waaw su nekkee ne kooku génn na fa ñu ubbi parenteer yi even after ay fan ay weer ba léegi yooyu noonu dafa des si rideau yi mbaa yooyu ku fa dugga si daf koo lor moo tax ñun amuñ provision si naa loolu
waaye fooguloo provision boobu ñaaka ko tam moo tax nit ñi di def lu leen neex di tug fu leen neex
dama foog ne jikko la rek because am na yoo xam ne mun ngaa dem feneen nga tux doo tux si public place waaye nit dangaa gis ne si biir garage si sax because comme Seyfo nu mu ko waxee benn sarte ak bi moo wax ne nit ki am na droit nokki ngelaw bi nga xam ne amul tabaako yow mi nga xam ne xam nga nit ki fi sa droit la keneen bosam commencé su fekkee man tuxkat la am naa droit tux ñu ne mun naa tux
waaw léegi soo gisee issue bi dafa compliqué tuxkat bi am na
right tam thank you foofu laa
ku war a nokki tam am na right pour nokki
waaw
léegi lan la ñoo def pour ñu séparate ñaar
loolu laa wax nag ne fan nga war a tuxee foofu la moo ñëw
waaw waaye fan nga war a tuxee
demal 100 meters away
xam naa kenn de am na kenn ki nga xam ne xam naa ko almost kooku noonu dëkk naa ak moom almost 3 years mosuma xam ne daf dee tu nekkee su moo tu
daf dee génn
ba si gannaaw dëkk bi foofu la dee tuxee mu dellu si
kooku tuxkat bu am
waaw ba pare man tam xam naa ñoo xam ne dañ dee tu waaye mosuma leen a gis ñu tux
waaw
loolu tamit daf dee
waaw di nga xam ne ñi dañoo tux mais bi dafa xeeñ seen yére
waaye duñ ko def sa kanam
waaw waaye gis nga sa biir moto sax yow soo ma mayee lif léegi nii sa biir moto yow it becomes a public place because it's prohibited in all public places léegi su nekkee eb nga ma foofu public place la amuloo benn droit pour tux foofu noonu
man daal gis naa solution problème yi smoking bi
mooy lan
da ngeen war a try ngeen how ma luñ de catch them before they grow. Xale yi ngeen war a starté. Because tey soo gisee suñ society bi da ngaa gis ne tey xale yi ñu fi dee gën a tu xale yi la ñu bëri ñu ngi ko téye comme li affaire yi jàmbaar la affaire yi góor la big boy la
stress level da ngeen dee def this counseling because most of the people man su ma waxee ñeene dañ dee wax man su ma tuxee daf dee wàccee suma stress bi loolu moo ma dee calm so there are factors really that is supposed to be addressed before the aga si individual buy tux si boppam xaw ma ne dañ dee consider loolu tamit
comme nu mu ko waxee dafa important xale yi because lii nekk na yi nga xam ne luñ suñ si doorin bi lañ ko dee doore moo tax luwaa bi mu ne xalal te ñun soo waxee xalal si suñ luwaa bi moo nekk ki nga xam ne amagut fukki at ak juróom-ñetta kooku amul droit bokk si jënd ak jaay cigarette su nekkee man am naa boutique sa right now aw ma droit yónni suma doom ma bàyyi ko fa mu jaay cigarette su nekkee loolu noonu loi bi fekk na la dafa dal sa kaw yow mi papa bi tam amuloo droit yónni sa doom pour mu jaay cigarette beneen bi moo nekk ñu ne léegi kenn warut a jaay benn nekkul loo xam ne da nga koo daasa benn dafa war a nekk loo xam ne paquet pour rek mu tax xale yi balaa ñuy jël jikko yi mu jafe soo gisee loi bi ñu teg ko rek pour balaa muy jot cigarette bi mu jafe si moom so moo tax ñu ne léegi ba pare comme nu mu ko doon waxee si olof rek cigarette dafa war a nekk loo xam ne war nañ koo partage soo demee boutique léegi xam nga meewee yëpp da nga koo gis rek waaye cigarette dafa war a nekk loo xam ne ñu ne da nga ko war a nóoba da nga ko war a nóoba yow soo demee da nga war a laajte it should be on demand nga ne jaay ma cigarette mu jaay la waaye xam nañ ne ba léegi am na ñoo xam ne seen extreme customers yow su nekkoon ne da nga di ka kóotu nga dem léegi comme bakaw nga ne jaay ma cigarette borom cigarette bi xameewu la dafa foog ne yow kii ñëw lifin la du la jaay waaye am na ñoo xam ne ba léegi seen extreme seen customers yi ñu ngi leen a jaay loolu yëpp nga xam ne soo ñooñu tamit luwaa baa ngee daan seen ko because nañ ne kenn warut a jaay benn
dafa mel ni fi mu nekk nii moom time bi xaw ma sax very interesting topic waxtaan bi soriwuñ dara soo xaw ma nag Balde sa programme la soo fi mu nekk nii
léegi lu ñoo defaat mooy xam naa ne dinañ leen joxaat beneen dee ngeen ñu am more time
boo xam ne dëgg dañ koo désigner pour lii rek ñu mun a waxtaan parce que Mamadou Gadiaga mu ngi war a join pour joxe am sports update xam naa you're all looking for the Gambia Sudan South Sudan game. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll head right onto Sports World. Do stay tuned.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with, and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you.
welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. You know, we have to apologize to the Tobacco Control Unit because due to very, very little time, they couldn't delve into all the nitty-gritties. But yeah, we will get to invite them here again to give them more time to actually delve into this very important topic. Now, extra important topic. South Sudan and the Gambia. Looking forward.
Yeah, a big game. We are playing against the tallest people in the world.
Yep, South Sudan.
So when
I
it
know,
comes
yeah,
to the height, when crosses come into Gambia's goal, so we're always in danger of conceding because we're playing against, like I said, the tallest people in the world. Look dark, tall, and, you know, in a way handsome.
They are
as
they.
well.
Gajaga, please don't go there.
So the game is on Saturday. It's not going to be played at home.
Yeah.
It's home from home. Well, on the team sheet, it's home match for Gambia, but it's going to be played in Thiès in Senegal.
Yeah.
Because the Independence Stadium is unfit to host international matches of that standard because of its nature.
Yeah.
The pitch is not good. Well, CAF have ordered the stadium to be redesigned again, let's say renovated.
Even the dressing rooms,
the dressing rooms need to be expanded. New sanitary system, and as well as the stands also need to have seats. So you don't go to the stadium and sit on the bare concrete. Yeah, so obviously there should be a very good and modernized media unit.
Individual seats, right?
Yeah, so the media unit also need to be fitted with everything good, so journalists can also do their work as well.
That's important.
So this big game, you know, the players are in town already, both the players of the Gambia and the players of South Sudan. But Gambia actually past week played a friendly with the United Arab Emirates and the game ended 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah, so UAE scored first in the first half and then in the second half Musa Barrow equalized.
Okay.
So 1-1. So getting into the game, they had a friendly. And South Sudan as well equally also had a friendly international which ended 0-0.
Okay.
So getting into this game, South Sudan is the newest nation in Africa. They got their what's the name again, independence in 2011. Yeah, so
what has been their history when it comes to football? Is there something we can point at?
Yeah, no history so far because they've never qualified for AFCON.
Yeah,
and for
maybe
us, we've qualified.
Local.
Yeah, they try to establish themselves in terms of their football. They have a league that is running. They also have, their national team have been playing friendlies, although they've never qualified. Gambia qualified once. That's the last AFCON in Cameroon. So Gambia in this match are the favorites. And South Sudan, of course, are the minnows. But we all went through the preliminary rounds because Gambia's ranking wasn't good enough when we were going to AFCON. And it's the same ranking that they used. That's why we played against Chad over 2 legs for the preliminaries and we knocked out Chad. Yeah, 3-2.
So it's like South Sudan is where we used to be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
where
we
like
used
South
to be.
Sudan is at a place where we used to be.
And which means hungry.
Yeah, very hungry.
Very hungry,
obviously.
very hungry.
In fact, their coach is talking about South Sudan, all that they see is football.
For
they eat football, they dream football, and it brings people together because you know what they've been through with the main Sudan, civil war several years, political instability and all of that. So football is one thing that unites people together.
But it's the same case in the Gambia as well, you know?
Yeah, well, when it's time for football, remember in the AFCON, everything went aside.
Politics was
over and everything.
Everybody came together.
So everybody
in fact, qualifying for the past AFCON and also going up to the quarterfinals, I think that boosts our confidence. I mean, it has taken our football to another level. To the extent that, I mean, we can compete anywhere. I mean, we are also going with that confidence. Let them not forget.
Not to cut you. The team's main striker, Hassan Cisse, have been talking about it. I saw his interview on the BBC that he conducted with Mamadou Ba. He said they've tasted how sweet AFCON is. They don't want to miss it anymore for any reason. But he said it's important for them to calm their nerves down and make sure they take it game by game and take the maximum points, especially in their first game. So it will be a hugely important boost for the Gambia's team to win this first game. In the qualifiers.
We are also not taking this game lightly.
We are.
You know, we are going in for a win, and I am pretty sure there will be a win for us.
All right. So Gajaga, do you have your bags packed?
Yeah, sure.
Pack nga sa bagasi, everything. Ba yep check nga cross check.
Check everything, yeah, sure.
Senegal
mo mam nga bobu
ID card sa nga duga si benakir. Listen, suliye. So what will you be bringing us? Yes. What updates? What form of updates?
Well, we'll try in as much as possible to get updates, possibly through Q Radio. Yeah, and as well as we'll make sure that, you know, we get certain footages with permission, of course. These games, you have broadcast right holders. Yeah, normally you are not allowed to film the game live and all of that. So, but we will see what we can get from the game.
So then you have live commentary via Q Radio.
That's what we are trying to work on. Not confirmed yet.
Okay,
but,
not confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you know,
looking forward to the game.
Let's look at the manner the game is going to be played. We're not playing in Gambia. You have a video, or
we have a video to show? We have a video here.
But let's take a look at the video.
Do you have you put together a video?
A video that is put together is actually Gambia's past game at the stadium when we qualified against Angola. So the goal that
should we take a look at that?
Oh, well, we can just talk about how important this game is for Gambia. And then also it has to do with the issue of fans traveling to the Lat George Stadium all the way in Chess to support the Gambia. Well, I understand there are lots of buses that are going to ferry the fans from Banjul right down to Chess and, you know, support the boys. They said they want the boys to feel they're playing home.
Gajaga, I mean, the game is going to be played in Senegal, and when considering the relation between Gambia and Senegal, we always call it one family. So it's like the boys of the Gambia would be more confident than their opponents, I think, in playing in Senegal. Because Senegal and Gambia, it's the same thing.
Yes, although it doesn't always work like that, because like we said, South Sudan now are the minnows. They are the smaller nation when it comes to football on paper, so they will be more hungry than even Gambia. Well, of course, Gambians have this advantage of having more experienced players. They have players that are playing in better leagues as well. But on the pitch, it could be something completely different. So for the Scorpions, they're looking forward to a win, at least, to have a very good footing in the group, because in this particular group, they had run against South Sudan, against Mali, and also Congo-Brazzaville. So it will be very, very important for the Gambia to have its first 3 points in this encounter against South Sudan in Senegal.
Okay, so what's your take on the first 11?
Well, the first 11, I don't think there would be much changes. In the heart of defense, I think Omar Colley is going to play, and now he's the captain, the new captain of the Gambia national team. Well, James Gomez, and then you have people like Yusufa Bob, Musa Barrow, Asan Cisse. You also have Abdoulaye Sanyang, and as well as Ibrahim Dabo. So Mohamed Badamosi. So I think, well, basically, not more changes.
And you know what's funny, Gajaga?
Yeah.
Our team, let's have some fun a little bit. Our boys, dafa am ñu ci mëna fécha de.
Yeah,
lolu ci football bi la boka.
Lolu yeb ci fun bi la boka. It keeps your nerves down, and then you feel good.
Doing the Buga challenge.
And it also makes you relax prior to the game. Yes, footballers, some will play Scrabble, some would do play cards, some would have fun.
I see Badamosi
well, for Musa Barrow and Badamosi, they seem to be like the dancers of the team. They seem to have more fun.
And they have their own way of dancing.
Then
so even in Dubai, I saw them dancing, you know, last year when the national team went to company.
So that just adds on to the whole fun, you know, the whole, journey and everything.
So you need to feel good prior to the game. So calm your nerves down and get into the game.
Well, as much as we are confident of playing our opponents, and at the same time, you know, confident of winning. You know, we should not take it lightly too, because I mean, football, you never know.
Football, funny.
You know, you can go in the middle of the pitch, you start having some issues. So let them focus and, you know, be there.
Yeah, sure, certainly. But these things are pre-game. It is like before the game, so you just have fun. You already did your training. You already spoke to the coach. He must have given you the tactical game plan, how you are going to play, and you know what you're supposed to do as a player. So, but it's pre-match, so you relax yourself
down. Dance it up and do all of that.
So what do you have for fans at home, back at home, those who can't go to Senegal and watch the game?
Yeah, we will try in as much as possible to give updates through, we are working on to make sure that it's also on Q Radio for live commentary, and as well, maybe on the QTV social media pages, we can also give updates as to the match.
All right. So, Gataga, did you guys talk about the final, the champions, the Real Madrid bu xewoon noonu? Boobu waxoon ngeen ko fi ndax?
Champions League.
Waaw, man ma gisoon ñu am heart attack ak yooyu, mënuma understand nga man am not into football.
Waaw,
am ma gis ñuy daanu ni.
Boobu soo ko fi gisee am na ñi nga xam ne nekkuñ fii wat ay supporter Mbappé lañ. So
man de dama gis ñeneen di daanu di
so am na ñi nga xam ne
mënuma understand.
Liverpool supporter
football man xawma.
No, boobu nañ ko tegee boor rek.
ñu tegee ko ba waaye Real Madrid ñoo winoon.
Waaw ñoom ñoo winoon.
Waaw, okay. So fi mu nekk nii boobu is said and done.
Waaw boobu is said and done.
Waaw, okay. Kon dafa mel ni am nañu humoon daal, am nañu ma gis. But generally, due to time constraints, we have to go. What are your final words in relation to the match?
Yes, looking forward to the game. Excited to go see the Scorpions again face to face. The last time I saw them at the Independence Stadium was when we qualified to play against, of course, Angola, the day that we qualify. So this time it will be good to see the fans. Yes, of course, there will not be 100% supporters at that stadium. But at least if we have maybe 2,000-3,000 supporters.
Gambians are paying their own money. Which is a good thing.
Still patriotism, nationalism, and as well as, love for football, love for the Scorpions. Yeah, let's go there and bring it on.
Okay, bring it on. So, Ibrahima, I think that is all we have time for. It has been a good one. So, Ibrahima, Gajaga, we're wishing you good luck. Be careful, drive safe, get there, and give us all the updates that we need.
So, certainly. It's my pleasure.
All right. So, till we come your way on Monday with another interesting program. Why man ken waxuma ne sama abaya bi nice na yena bon. Abaya bi joge ba Dubai, madam transit Dubai. Gambian si fofu ne ma tanal abaya bu la neex nga jël ko. Ma jël bi.
Jey Yasin.
Till we come your way on Monday. Bye for now.